Thank you for tuning in. This is VNews Daily Broadcast.
Petro Vietnam launches drilling rig oil platform. Commercial banks obey state bank regulations. Joyfulness comes to children at Mid-Autumn Festival. UK National Ballet set for Vietnam visit.
Solemn ceremonies have been held in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, as well as Quảng Nam Province, to commemorate former President of the State Council, Võ Trí Công, who passed away on September 8th at the age of 99.
Leaders of the party, the state, the National Assembly, the government and the Fatherland Front paid tribute to Võ Trí Công at the Thống Nhất Hall in Ho Chi Minh City on September 10th. On September 10 and 11th, ceremonies to commemorate Võ Trí Công were also held at the International Convention Centers in Hanoi and in Quảng Nam Province, his homeland. A solemn commemoration ceremony will take place at the Thống Nhất Hall on the early morning of September 12th. Võ Trí Công, who was also former chairman of National Defense Council and former deputy prime minister, passed away due to old age and serious illness at Thống Nhất Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City.
On September 10, Petro Vietnam launched the first jack-up drilling rig at the Vũng Tàu Petroleum Port. The state president Trương Tấn Sang was present at the event.
The 90-meter water depth drilling rig is a key national mechanical project with Petro Vietnam as the investor and Petro Vietnam Marine Shipyard as the engineering, procurement, construction contractor. The jack-up drilling rigs meets international standard recognized by the American Bureau of Shipping. With the success, Vietnam stands in a line of 10 jack-up drilling rig producers in the world. At the ceremony, the Russian-Vietnamese oil and gas joint venture Vietsopetrol signed a contract with Petro Vietnam Shipyards on the building of another 90-meter jack-up drilling rig.
The Vietnam Textile and Apparel Associations, VTAS, reports that garment export rose to 28.6% to over $8.98 billion in the first 8 months of this year. And it forecasts that the yearly export target of $10.5 billion will be very much achievable.
In August alone, garment exporters raked in $1.38 billion. The U.S. still remains the largest traditional importer as it accounted for 51% of Vietnam's exports. The European Union came the second with 17% and Japan 12%. VTAS said the 8-month result would help the garment sector pocket $10.5 billion in export turnover this year. However, it urged garment businesses to renovate business methods to make the outcome highly sustainable.
In response to the State Bank of Vietnam's regulations on deposit interest rate caps in Vietnamese dong and US dollar, 34 out of 42 commercial banks have issued documents requesting their entire institutions to follow what they have been told.
The commercial banks have instructed their branches to strictly enforce the capped interest rates and banned them from negotiating interest rates with customers. They said they will enhance supervision over branches' compliance and take strict sanctions against managers of those branches and transaction points and stops found to violate the state bank regulations. The State Bank of Vietnam kept the Vietnamese dong deposit rate ceiling at 14% per year. The foreign currency deposit rate ceiling for organizations and individuals was also maintained. Thanks to the move, a number of commercial banks have cut their lending interest rates by 1.5 to 2 percentage points to 17 to 19% per year. The state bank's average lending interest rates in August was 18.73%. The rate for agricultural producers and exporters was 16 to 21%. For other manufacturers, 18 to 22%. Non-manufacturers, 20 to 25%.
A fair organized by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development featuring northern farm products and handmade items is taking place in the capital city of Hanoi.
Kicked off on September 10th, the 5-day fairs offer an opportunity for handicraft businesses to seek partners and expand the market, especially at a time when about 60% of the businesses are operating moderately and 20% of them are sliding into an extremely difficult situation. During the fair, the craftsmen will participate in a forum to discuss methods to preserve the making effectively. Craftsmen of some traditional handicraft villages will perform their skills before visitors. The event brought together more than 1,000 craftsmen from northern cities and provinces. In 2010, agricultural exports fetched $9.95 billion, up 24.22% from the previous year. Handicraft export recorded an estimate of $1.5 billion.
Children across Vietnam are looking forward to their Mid-Autumn Festival, which falls on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, September 7, on Western calendar this year. However, there are children who celebrated the festival earlier than others. Here is a cover story.
On September 10, thousands of children patients at the National Hospital of Pediatrics in Hanoi enjoyed a happy Mid-Autumn Festival celebration where they received gifts from visitors and donors. The celebration was joyfully held by the hospital and good-hearted people who wanted to help the children enjoy the same festival. I'm very happy to see benefactors come and give Mid-Autumn Festival gifts to our children. I wish that these donors will show more care for our children so they can leave hospital soon. I hope that our small gifts and simple actions would make the children happy when the Mid-Autumn Festival is nearing. Earlier, nearly 300 autistic children in Ho Chi Minh City were entertained by an early special Mid-Autumn Festival in the Tân Cang Tourism Resort. During the festival, they found pleasure on various artistic performances. They also learned how to make cakes and lanterns and took part in interesting team games. The festival is to help children with autism enjoy a life like their normal peers so they can grow normally.
The world-renowned English National Ballet is headed to Vietnam to entertain audiences in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City this month.
The British Council announced on September 9th that the UK ballet dancers are scheduled to perform at the Opera House in Hanoi on September 14 and at the Ho Chi Minh City Opera House on September 16. The trip, arranged by the British Council of Vietnam and sponsored by the UK-based Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation Limited (HSBC), represents the first visit by the prestigious ballet company to Vietnam. One of the major attractions for local audiences will be the performance of Vue de l'Autre with choreography by Vietnamese dancer Lê Ngọc Vân, who was born in Hanoi and joined English National Ballet in 2003.
Now let's visit the Mueang Ethnic Culture Space Museum in the northern province of Hòa Bình. This is a cultural arts work by 34-year-old artist Vũ Đức Hiếu, who was born in Hanoi but grew up in Hòa Bình with a profound compassion for Mueang ethnic customs and culture.
The museum is dedicated to displaying 3 southern Mueang artifacts and tools, including gongs, ancient copper censers and vases, fishing, weaving and shooting tools, and household utensils. It also features 200 species of medicinal plants of Mueang ethnic people, which are grown on an area of 500 square meters. The museum is regarded a miniature Mueang society with 4 types of houses illustrating class distinction within the society. The Langhouse for the upper class, Old House for servants in Langhouse, Knock House for middle class. The museum attracted more than 10,000 foreign and domestic visitors last year.
That is all for today. Thanks for watching and have a good evening.